Hey, what's up everybody? Jed Johnson here from dieselcrew.com. Of course, you know they call me Napalm. And today I want to talk to you about the blood flow restriction seminar that I went to 2 weekends ago. I wanted to do this video last week, but I just couldn't get to it. So I'm sorry for the delay. The blood flow restriction seminar that I went to was called Hawk Grips. They provided this sweet manual. Basically, it's like a PowerPoint presentation that is printed into manual form, and you could make notes, but I didn't want to mess this up, so I ended up not taking notes in this, and I used a notebook. Then I ended up dog-earing a bunch of pages anyway and messed it up. So should have just taken notes in the manual, but I didn't. Anyway, the units that they provide for use during the seminar are the Be Strong units. And this seminar was put on by Jim Wagner. If you've watched any of the videos over the last few months where I was going up for therapy sessions on my hands, we did a video talking about conjugate training. That's Jim Wagner. And he has multiple letters behind his name. He has multiple letters behind his name. So he's certified through multiple organizations. The one that is most important, I think, is certified hand therapist. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to therapy. And a major part of the benefits of blood flow restriction training over the course of history has been through recovery from injuries. That was actually one of the main interests that I had for benefits getting out of this seminar was, could I put this into my training and perhaps it would help me recover from injuries, especially this ongoing left hand, which is already inflamed again because I overdid it too fast in preparing for the North American Championship. So just got to stick with it and keep it going. I'm going to cover, I actually have plans to use this in my training, and I'm going to cover some of the applications. But first I want to give just an explanation of what blood flow restriction training is in case you want to try the stuff out. So there's lots of tools that you can get online that will accomplish varying degrees of blood flow restriction training. And basically blood flow restriction training taps into your body's natural system of stress and recovery. So depending on what products you get, they may or may not be as fancy and detailed as the Be Strong. I was first introduced to blood flow restriction training through the pump expands, and I wish I had those right here so I could show you, but I'm not sure exactly where they're at. No, that's not it. Anyway, the blood flow restriction tools by Be Strong, you take a pump, and depending on which of the tools you use, it has a level of pressure that you're supposed to put into the unit. With the pump expands, you're really just putting it around your arm and tightening it, so you can't really measure it. So the thing that I want to say is, I'm not saying that those won't be effective. I'm just saying that there has actually been enough research done to know how much pressure you should put into these cuffs. You do not get that kind of detail and precision with some of the tools that are out there. There's lots of benefits from blood flow restriction training. I'm going to list some of them, but I'll also say that I know that there's been like discussion online that I've seen that these are not useful, that there's really no benefit from doing this training. However, there are at least 20 different research articles that Jim included in this presentation, many of which that he detailed in the seminar, and you know, there were a handful of those. There were a few case studies. I mean, to me, there's a decent amount of information backing this, and that's why I want to employ it in my training. It was all started by this guy Yoshiaki Sato in Japan. And how it came about was in Japan, apparently, when they go to a funeral, they are very long and you sit in this kind of kneeling position where your shins are on the floor, your toes are pointed backwards, and your knees are pointed forwards. And he said after being in the Seiza position, that's what that position's called. It's after being in the Seiza position for hours during a funeral, Sato's legs felt similar to how they felt when he completed an exhaustive strength training session. So if you think about a good hard leg training session where you get that pump going, I think that's what he was feeling. So being in that position, the blood flow was restricted for several hours, and he got this feeling. So what he did is he started to experiment on ways to get that feeling more often through blood flow restriction. So he went from that experience in that funeral Seiza position. He started to use it in the rehab setting. He started using it with friends, and then he even developed a system which he sold, which it was kind of like it had like this almost like a computer unit to it, and wires would connect to the bands, and then he could adjust everything. So that's what I'm talking about with the system, and he sold that system. But this also talks about in the 70s or 80s where bodybuilders used to use blood flow restriction training. During the 80s where bodybuilders would put some kind of a blood flow restriction device on their arms, and they would use it in their training. So this is not something new. This has been around for 30, 40 years. And the process was first developed in 1966 with Sato. Some of the benefits include recovery from injuries, which, like I said, is one main reason that I want to implement this. Jim talked about injury recovery. He talked about research based around that and case studies, bone mineral density, growth hormone secretion, which of course is very important because it's an anabolic hormone, as well as being lipolytic, which means it helps with fat burning. And restricted blood flow increases protein synthesis and increases repair of muscles, the repairing processes. So how do you do this stuff? We had several what they call labs. So we would put the units on, and then we would set up a training regimen for a partner. So we would put them on, we would pump them up to the specified level that was suggested. Later on in the book, it's covered here, and I'll cover that. And then we would do basically the first session was an upper body session. So we did primarily isolation work and exercises that would be used in a therapy session. So that was a pretty cool experience. The next session was lower body, and that was not cool because my partner made me do calf raises on a slant board, and my calves were sore for a week. As soon as I was done with that session, when I stood and I would put more weight on one leg than the other, my leg was fluttering. My calf was firing, and I could not keep my foot still. So I don't think that has to do with the blood flow restriction at all. I think it has to do with the fact that I never trained calves, and I had to do 3 sets of 30 or 30, 20, 20. I don't know exactly what the rep ranges were. They suggest doing 3 sets of 30, but we varied that up sometimes, so I don't remember exactly what we did. But when you do this, you need to keep the loads very light. So it should be 20 to 30% of your 1 rep max. So before knowing all this, when I used to do this with the pump expands, I was going way too heavy. So I found out from Jim about 2 years ago when he was down here, and we shot a video, and I'll put a link in the description box so that you can check that out. But he kind of goes over a basic blood flow restriction session with me, doing double dumbbell curls. And when you check out the description box, there's going to be some other links and resources down there that you can use to support the channel. And by all means, leave a comment if you have any questions here, and be sure to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Some other benefits that I highlighted. So these can help increase hypertrophy, which is building muscle. These can help with strength increases. And what's cool about it is they work both proximal and distal to the band. So if the band is here, you can do training that will benefit things that are proximal to the band. So that means upstream back towards the center of the body. So you can use the bands here, but it doesn't mean you're just going to get benefit in the biceps and triceps. You're going to get benefit throughout your whole entire body. And you don't have to just do isolation work for the biceps and triceps. You can do more complex exercises. Even jumping jacks, push-ups, core work can be done with these bands on, and you can get the same benefits because the reaction in the body and the response to this does not just come about because of the muscles you're working, but rather because of the application to the limb. That's what brings about these results. Some other benefits, well, the last one, it was tendon size and function. So for me, tendon health is very, very important. So grip is almost entirely neural and tendon based. Has very little to do with muscular activity at all. So you need to keep your tendons in healthy working shape. So I thought that was another reason, I'm telling you, 20 minutes into the seminar, I knew I was going to start using these on a regular basis because of all the benefits that were being fired at me one after the other. So what is my plan for application of blood flow restriction into my training? I'm not just going to wear them all the time. In fact, you should only do like 4 of these sessions per week, if I'm remembering correctly. But these are some of the things that I targeted to be ways that I could utilize these, get benefits out of them, as well as get more benefit out of my training time. So real basic would be finishers. So like the last thing that you're doing in your training session, you can add these on, and then you can really get some additional benefit out of your training. So for me, it might be going on upper body day and doing some curls or push downs with the blood flow restriction units on my arms. And that's basically what I've done all the time. So that's nothing new. But one of the things that I want to do is I want to peel some fat off. So I think some extra sessions, some extra workouts would be good, because then I'm going to burn a few more calories. I can make it more cardio based, and I'll see the benefits from not only the cardio and the extra workouts, but the blood flow restriction training benefits as well. By extra workouts, what I'm talking about there is more of a principle that I learned from listening to Louis Simmons' videos. And basically he would incorporate extra workouts in order to speed up recovery. So he would do things like sled dragging, extra work on the reverse hyper, and belt squat work, all kinds of things like this that were lighter in nature. It wasn't max effort, it wasn't speed work, just lighter in nature to get more blood flowing, help with recovery. And I think that would be a good way to do this, because it's time that I'm already spending. I'm already doing extra workouts, and you can get a little more benefit by using blood flow restriction. GPP. So that's kind of like conditioning or cardio. Some examples would be sled work, loaded carries, heavy bag work, and kettlebell swings. So like I said, you don't need to put the units on your body and then work the area where the units are. You can put these on your body, and in the third lab that we did at the seminar, we had them on our arms and our legs and worked very general. We weren't doing squats and deadlifts. I was doing bird dogs, jumping jacks, and then I can't remember the third one, but it was very full body. So calisthenics are very closely related to GPP in that it's just general physical work that you're doing. Get your blood flow up, get your breathing and heart rate up, and it helps you be in better shape. So both GPP and calisthenics like that seem to be good ways for me to work them into the program, and it's not extremely taxing at all. You can do 10-20 minutes of GPP work and you get a lot of benefit out of that. You can enhance those benefits by using the blood flow restriction. That's what I'm thinking in my head. And then core work. So one of the things that Louis talks about is doing a tremendous amount of core work. And on occasion, I will do core work. I really like side planks. I really like bridges. But I see that I have time where I could do more. And I've been wanting to do more. So I've been wanting to implement more cardio, wanting to implement more GPP, continue with extra workouts, and do core work. So why not use the blood flow restriction a few times a week while I do these things? And to me, it's going to motivate me to do these extra things and make them a more regular part of my weekly approach to training. And it will help with recovery, help with injury recovery, help with muscle building and strength increases, as well as all the other benefits that I spoke about. So, in closing on my notes, this is not a type of training that would be used to replace other training necessarily. Like if you're in a pinch and you don't have time for a full workout, you could do a 10-20 minute blood flow restriction training session and at least get something in. But really, I look at this as a way, and what they describe it is as an adjunct, an addition. And I look at it as a way to enhance the results that I'm getting from my training. So that's what I'm thinking. I wanted to go over a few things specifically from the literature here. So you have to be careful about the terminology that's used, and I tried to use the right terminology. But basically, you have cuffs and you have belts and bands. So cuffs are inelastic, they're wide, they're designed to cut off blood. Think of blood pressure cuff. It's designed to cut off your blood flow for a moment in order to measure your blood pressure. Pneumatic belts and bands are elastic, they're generally narrow, they're designed to impede blood flow, not completely shut it off. And you use pressure recommendations and monitor your fatigue in order to get best results. I wanted to talk about the tendon information that was in here. Tendon size and function can be improved with light loads and blood flow restriction training. The first robust study examining tendon adaptations was published in November 2019, looking at the Achilles tendon. And the conclusion was low load resistance training with blood flow restriction produced similar adaptive changes in tendon size and stiffness to the Achilles tendon when compared to high load resistance training. So remember, this is very low load, high volume, and you get, according to the study, the similar results to high load resistance training. And then some of the pressures, this has a pump and a tube that connects just like a blood pressure monitor, and or a blood pressure cuff. And basically you put it on, you tighten it so that you can still get one finger in there so it's not overly tightened. Then you press it up, and depending on which band you use, there's a suggested level of millimeters of mercury that you would apply to the unit. And the green one is 150, the red one is 200. So I believe we use the 200 for the arm drills. 3 is 250, 4, so green was 150, red was 200, we used the red. So the third one is blue, and it was 250 millimeters of mercury. The fourth one is yellow, and it's 300 millimeters of mercury. And then the fifth one is gray, and it's 350 millimeters of mercury. And then as you go down that list, each of the bands is bigger. So for arms, you would probably use a green or a red, and then blue if your arms are, I guess, extremely huge, and then blue, yellow, and gray for legs. So that's just a rundown, guys. If you're on my newsletter, which you should be, a couple weeks before I found out I was going to the seminar, I said I was going to do a review and share it with them. So this video is actually for them in particular, but also I wanted to put more information out about this and share the benefits of blood flow restriction training, because I know that there is some people out there under the impression that this stuff is not useful at all, and it's clear that the research shows that there are benefits to it. So like I said, if you want to see that actual session that Jim put me through a couple years ago, the link will be in the description box, as well as links of other ways that you can support the channel, including ways that you don't have to buy anything, you can just donate. So those links are down there, and that's of course highly appreciated if you do that. Any questions, like I said, you can leave them in the comments section, and I'll be seeing Jim again here in about a week. So any questions that are included there, I can run by him. We can do a video for YouTube. Also plan on talking with him about some other things, including a follow-up on his conjugate training and some other specific questions that I came up with that he helped me with when I started mapping out how I was going to implement the blood flow restriction training into my weekly program. Thanks for watching, everybody. Give it one of these. Be sure to subscribe. All the best in your training. Take care.